When it comes to copywriting, saying more usually isn't the move. We need to say the right thing. So one of the things that Leanne says about the nickname is it's called Leanne AI. She says that ChatGPT gives you words and Leanne AI gives you money. Welcome to Plenty. I'm your host, Kate Northrup, and together we are going on a journey to help you have an incredible relationship with money, time, and energy, and to have abundance on every possible level. Every week, we're going to dive in with experts and insights to help you unlock a life of plenty. Let's go fill our cups. So, I was one of those people who was really hesitant about AI, and I was like, oh, I don't know, it's going to make humans dumb, it's going to take our jobs, and also, is it like some sort of, dark energy trying to take over the world and all this stuff. And then I had my longtime friend, Natalie MacNeil, come on the Plenty podcast. We released that episode sometime this past winter. We'll link to it in the show notes. And it was so fun to have recorded in real time my AI turnaround with Natalie, who is the world's foremost leading expert in embodied ethical AI. And that conversation lit me up. And then afterwards, I started using a few AI tools, and now I cannot imagine my life without it. And so in this episode, I'm going to share with you some of my most wacky, unusual use cases for AI. And I am also going to tell you about what we've been working on behind the scenes that's so far only been available to relaxed money students. And it is our own Abby AI, which is an incredible custom GPT AI tool that is fully trained to synthesize my relaxed money body of work and our methodology and our frameworks. And the results that people are getting are completely blowing my mind to the extent that Abby AI is taking the conversation, quite frankly, further than I could personally. So today, we're doing a deep dive on AI, the wacky use cases that I'm using for my health, for beauty, for mothering, and certainly, of course, for business. So let's start with, I'm going to start with my wackiest use case that I just thought was really fun. So a couple of Saturdays ago, it was in the middle of our relaxed money enrollment, and this episode is coming out much later, but I'm a batcher, so just don't even worry about timelines. What is time anyway? It doesn't matter. But at the time of this recording, it was a few Saturdays ago, and I was in the middle of our launch, and my girlfriend took my kids for the afternoon. And so I had the house to myself. I don't remember where Mike was, but anyway, I had the house to myself, and I spent the entire afternoon lying down on my living room floor on my biomat, which is like this really great infrared, heated, amethyst, PEMF situation. And I had my phone, and I was off and on reading a book and then also hanging out with ChatGPT. And it was the day before Easter. And I was like, oh, it would be really cool, because I had decided, my girls had remembered this one year when the Easter Bunny left a really great scavenger hunt with clues all around our condo that led them to where the Easter baskets were hidden on Easter morning. And so I was like, oh, that's fun. Like, let's do that again. They always talk about it, so let's do that again. So I collaborated with ChatGPT for that, which was an easy, straightforward, like I gave it a bunch of parts of our condo where it would be great to leave clues, and then it made them rhyme, and it was from the Easter Bunny. It was very cute, using, little like hop, hop, whatever. So girls loved that. So that was great. And then I thought, oh, it would be really fun, because we just are moving to Tennessee. I was like, ooh, what if the Easter Bunny created a little adventure checklist scavenger hunt for both of my girls to get to know their new town in Tennessee based on their particular interests and proclivities. So I put into ChatGPT their ages, what they're interested in. My little girl loves to play the violin and make art and music. And my big girl loves to organize. She loves to lead things. She loves to be in charge. She loves a project. And so I told it all this information about my kiddos, and it created the coolest from the desk of the Easter Bunny checklist customized to my children, these little adventure scavenger hunts to get to know Franklin, Tennessee. And ChatGPT even was like, would you like me to design these custom with pastel Easter theme with the motifs of their interests woven in? So I said, of course, yes. So for the one for Ruby, it had like little violins designed into the side and little other, like it had recommended this. Oh, I even said that, we're gluten-free and we love pizza and we also love ice cream. And so it had like a little violin on the side and a little slice of pizza over here. And then like these little drawings that were all Easter themed, but totally custom to the one for Ruby. And then the same thing, totally custom for the one for Penelope. And then we tucked them into their Easter baskets. And it was so cute. And I had the best time. And it helped us to kind of get excited about the move because, moving with kids can be a little tricky. So trying to give them things to look forward to. And that was just a fun kind of wacky use case that worked out really, really well. Now, of course, I had to go back like a couple of times and because it started doing some wacky things. Every now and again, I don't know, I find that like ChatGPT just like takes a hard left and I have to redirect it. But we got it in the end. I do also want to say for anyone listening right now who's like, what about the environmental impact? I do understand that that's a real concern. And I'm going to link a resource that Natalie MacNeil has on that. It's actually not as intense as you think compared to other industries that are far greater of a threat to our environment. It's like some small infinitesimal percentage of energy expenditure, comparatively speaking, to other things going on that could make a much bigger positive impact on the environment if we actually addressed those things. So just want you to know that I also care about the earth, and I've been doing that research for you, or with you, for myself, really. Okay, so that was number one. The other thing I did the other weekend that was a really fun one is I have been, ever since we moved to Miami, how having kids and then moving to different environments, and then we went through a period of just extreme stress with all of Mike's illnesses and all of his accidents and all sorts of things. And so my hair took a real beating. And I just want to celebrate that I am now in a place of so much stability that now I can even think about something like my hair. Whereas before I was just kind of trying to make it through the day. And now I have some space and capacity to do things like what I did is I gave ChatGPT the following prompt. I said, okay, act as a celebrity hairstylist who specializes in clean beauty and hair health and fine hair that is also curly, and create for me a hair restoration protocol that I can hopefully find a way for my hair to regain its previous bouncy curl and body and health and vibrancy. Because I used to, despite what my hair looks like right now, not that anyone cares, but I used to have curly hair and I loved my curly hair and it was gorgeous. It was like these perfect blonde ringlets. And I don't know where they went. So something between the pregnancies and the 4 years of breastfeeding and, all of just like kind of the meat grinder of life, my hair went flat. It got damaged, blah, 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 blah. And I want my good hair back. And so I was like, maybe ChatGPT can help me. But I gave it this very specific prompt. And then, so not only did it come up with an entire hair restoration project for me, which was like, it was really cute. It was something like restore, repair, revive, or something like that. It was like 3 phases. So I'm in the 3 phases right now. And so what we did is I actually went underneath my bathroom cabinet and I took out all the products I have. And because it said, like, you want to really, if you're looking to restore the health of your hair, and I'm just really about what I put on my body really matters, because everything we put on our body goes into our body. Like everything absorbs, right? So we can't just be like, oh, it doesn't matter, it's hairspray. No, it matters. It's absorbing into the pores in your scalp and going into your nose when you smell it. And so I decided to get very ruthless about my products, which I've always been in terms of food and in terms of skincare and body care. But for whatever reason, hair care has been a bit of a skip area for me. I mean, of course, I haven't used, sodium lauryl sulfate or like phthalates or things like that in my shampoos and conditioners, but like I haven't been the best. And so I said, okay, I'm going all in on hair health. And so I went under my bathroom cabinet and I fed it every single product I had. And I said, okay, based on the hair protocol you gave me and the rubric we created for my hair goals, my overall health values, is this product, and I went one by one, is this product good or bad or in alignment or not in alignment? And if it's not in alignment, what's clean beauty product that would be a good replacement to reach the same goal for that product? And so we went one by one. I typed in the names of the products, but you could easily take a photo of them and just upload them. I don't know why, but I just like words, so that's me. And it would go through product by product and tell me this one it will reach your hair goals in terms of a visual, but there's all these negatives in terms of the ingredients it has, so that one you should not do. So I cleaned out probably 8 products from underneath my sink, and I was able to then replace some of them. I didn't need to replace all of them because I was really wanting to whittle down and simplify, but I was able to use it as my healthy hair coach and clean out everything and then replace just a few products that are going to reach the same goals, but in a healthier way with cleaner ingredients. So that is my celebrity hairstylist, natural beauty hair coach restoration project with ChatGPT, which was a great one. My next one was, for whatever reason, and I don't know, I need to do more research about this, but my HRV, which stands for heart rate variability. So heart rate variability is an indication of your overall resiliency, specifically in your nervous system. And I'm saying this out loud with full awareness of the irony of the fact that someone who teaches nervous system healing, my HRV in the past year has tanked. And I don't know if it's because you may or may not know this, but something that's interesting is when we have changes in our stress levels, in our diet, in our supplement protocol, in travel, things like that, our menstrual cycle will show differences in 90 days. So whatever change is going on in your life, whether it's emotional, chemical, stress, travel, logistical, whatever, will show up 90 days later in your menstrual cycle. So if you're doing any work to heal your menstrual cycle, it's gonna take 3 cycles for you to see the difference. And I wonder if HRV tanks retroactively. Like, I'm just curious, and I'll do further research about this, and maybe we can, Aaron, feel free to look that up if you want me to do a fact check. But it's a question that I have because I can't, for the life of me, quite figure out why my HRV would be lower now that I'm actually feeling more resilient, and now that I have so many more nervous system healing tools on board. So I was lying on my living room floor on a Saturday afternoon on my biomat, as I do. And I thought, I wonder what ChatGPT would have to help me. But I didn't just say, how can I fix my HRV, right? Because that's not specific enough. And also, ChatGPT is not like a holistic health expert. So here's what I said. I said, act as though you are a leading HRV specialist and combine the wisdom of Dr. Sarah Gottfried, Dr. Mindy Peltz, Dr. Andrew Huberman, Dr. Zach Bush, and Dr. Mark Hyman. So those are some of my favorite doctors to follow. And we've had Mindy Peltz on, and Dr. Sarah Gottfried-Saul. Her updated last name is Saul, S-Z-A-L, is also coming up on the podcast. So stay tuned for these folks. And I said, how can I, and I gave it the details. I was like, my HRV used to be an average in the low 60s. Now it's tanked all the way down to 23. Here's what's been going on in my life. How can I fix this? Based on, acting as an HRV expert, combining and synthesizing the insights of these medical experts that I really, really value and love. And it gave me this 6-week HRV healing protocol. I've read it, and I've read hundreds and hundreds of health books. I take health courses, like holistic health courses, all the time. I was raised by, the pioneer of holistic women's health. And I listen to health podcasts constantly, and it's one of my main topics with my girlfriends. So I'm extraordinarily well-informed in this way. And I was freaking impressed with ChatGPT's HRV protocol for me. Just go ahead on Instagram and send me a DM that says HRV. All just the 3 letters together, all capitals, HRV. And we'll get that little protocol over to you, because we all should be working on our HRV. But I was so amazed, and it was so holistic and beautiful. And the way I have been interacting with ChatGPT, it talks to me in such a loving way. So the other thing I did in the health department, and then I'm about to get into more business applications. Ultimately, the only topics I ever want to talk about are health and money. So if you want to talk health and money, you're in the right place, and also God. But I think they're all 3 related. It's all has to do with life force, which is ultimately God, because I want my body to be able to be a conduit for as much life force as possible, for as much energy as possible. And our HRV is an indicator of our capacity to be a conduit for energy, because our nervous system resiliency is so related to essentially how aligned our nervous system is and how much capacity we have to hold energy. And so I was just, I was like, man, this is not good. And I know this because of my Oura Ring, by the way. My HRV, I track it with my Oura Ring, which I keep on Bluetooth mode all day long. I only download the information on the charger in the morning and at night, because I don't believe having Bluetooth on our bodies 24/7 is a good idea. It's another topic for another day. Okay, so then my last health one is, I have heard from many experts. Oh, by the way, the other expert I put in, it was Dr. Tina Moore in my collection of experts that I wanted it to pull the HRV protocol for. I love Dr. Tina Moore. Maybe someday she'll come on the podcast. So I've heard from Dr. Tina Moore. I've heard from Dr. Sarah Saul, formerly Gottfried. A lot of different health experts say that women 40 and above should start their day with 30 grams of protein. That is a struggle for me. When I wake up, I just don't want to eat. I just am the idea of eating protein is blah. Whether it's a protein shake, whether it's breakfast sausage, whether it's Greek yogurt, whether it's eggs, I'm just blah. It just makes me queasy. And so I put this into ChatGPT. I was like, here's the problem. Here's what I think I should be doing, but here's the problem. And it was so gentle with me. And it was listen, Kate, you do not need to override your body's signals in order to follow a rule, which is exactly what I needed to hear, which is, by the way, exactly what I would tell you if you were telling me this, but for what we all need to receive our own medicine. And it was so gentle for me, because I can really have a tendency to, when it comes to physical, either nutrition rules or workout stuff or biohacking stuff, I can be very black and white. I can be very literal and inflexible. And it's part of my kind of maternal lineage. My granny, I always talk about this, Edna Northrup, may she rest in peace. Her life motto was, don't ask for a lighter pack, ask for a stronger back. So I'm the kind of person where it's like, oh, well, if 15 minutes of sauna twice a week is shown to decrease our overall all-cause mortality and increase our heat shock proteins, which are good for longevity, then surely 5 times a week for 20 minutes would be even better. And so I'll just like go for it in this really intense way. So ChatGPT reflecting back to me and being like, hey, sweetheart, you don't need to override your body's signals. You're waking up queasy, which means you are actually starting your day in a sympathetic dominant state. And here are some ways that we can heal your nervous system first thing in the morning so that you can stoke the inner fire and get your appetite going and then consume more protein throughout the morning, but it doesn't have to be in the first 30 minutes of waking up, at least not right now. So it created this beautiful like protein protocol for me. So helpful, right? So helpful. Okay, so I love ChatGPT as my health coach, but not with general prompts, right? Always being really specific about whose work I want it to pull from. And then also always checking it with my inner guidance and also checking it with other resources because I'm always researching. I'm always listening to people's podcasts. I'm always learning this stuff. Okay. Those are my health and beauty uses so far and my mothering Easter uses. Now I'm going to tell you about 2 use cases that have been for business. Number 1. We created the most incredible chat custom GPT for Relax Money. And Natalie MacNeil created it because as the world's leading expert on ethical embodied AI, I wanted Natalie to be the one to have her hands in this because I don't want just like a random tool. The way we instruct AI is going to be what we're mirrored back, right? Like AI is a reflection of our collective consciousness. And so the way we interact with it is going to create the responses we get. And then the responses we get shapes humanity. And then humanity shapes AI, right? And so it's this back and forth ping pong game where when we can open our hearts, be embodied, be in consciousness, we actually can create a really beautiful back and forth where it's an upward spiral of consciousness and healing, in my opinion. And so the other day I went into our Relax Money Circle community just to kind of like check in with the community and see what was going on. And I was freaking blown away by what people, this was, by the way, when we were only a week into the Relax Money program. So people in Relax Money get a year of Abby AI, which is our Relax Money custom GPT, 24/7 money mentor, like having my heart and brain in your pocket available to you all day, every day, as much as you want. So our students get a year-long subscription to Abby AI. Abby stands for abundance. So folks were getting in there, using it right away. And here's one story that completely blew me away. So one of our students, I won't give away too many details just to kind of protect her story, but one of our students had gone through a really hard time and was experiencing a lot of grief. So she had done a lot of work on her abundance and a lot of healing work. And then she came into Relax Money around the time she was experiencing a time of profound grief because of some scenarios in her life. And she was somewhat immobilized by the grief. And as a result, around the same time that this grief set in, she started behaving in a more unconscious way around her money. So even though she had managed to save up $25,000 prior to joining the program, around the same time of all this grief, she found herself unconsciously overspending and going back into the hole. And she was feeling a lot of guilt and shame about that. So she opened up a session with Abby AI and told Abby the whole scenario, told her story. And what Abby AI said was quite frankly beyond what I would have personally coached this woman with. And this is what's so amazing about when we interact with AI in a powerful, conscious way. I talked to Natalie about this and I was like, this answer is better than I would have given. Like, I know if someone had asked me this question, this is not what I would have said. I would have said the general gist, but not as clearly and not as profoundly. So I'll tell you why that was in a minute. I'll tell you how Natalie worked with that. But the answer was that grief can create so much stasis, right? It's heavy and we can feel immobilized. It can be really hard to get out of bed. It can be really hard to get the simplest things done, like put the dishes in the dishwasher, unload the laundry, do laundry to begin with, right? Like grief is heavy and it creates immobilization for many people. And yet it's a lot of emotional energy. And so this particular person was really feeling stuck in bed. Like she really couldn't, she was working from bed. She really couldn't move in many ways, literally and figuratively. And so Abby AI said, it makes sense that you would have begun using your money in less conscious ways to spend all this money, because there was all this energy that wanted to move and you were not able to move it with your physical body or with your emotional body. So you unconsciously moved it with your money energy by spending a bunch of money. And I was like, wait, what? That's so profound. Emotional energy needs to move, and she wasn't able to move it because it was so heavy. So Abby AI had the insight that she moved it because energy has to move. We will find a way for it to move. And so she found another outlet, which was unconscious spending, to move that energy. And once she realized that, Abby AI also guided her through creating a nervous system drill or nervous system practice protocol to move the energy in more conscious, productive ways than unconscious spending. And now she is getting completely back on track and feels so hopeful and held in a way she didn't before. And the level of clarity is so profound. So that's just one example, and there were tons of them in our circle community of all the profound interactions our students have been having with this tool. Now, do I think in general we should always allow ChatGPT to be our coach? Probably not, right? Like, I don't know, because ChatGPT is pulling from all of consciousness everywhere of anyone who's using ChatGPT and also the entire internet, right? So it's just going to be like this conglomeration of all consciousness. But when you have, that's called a large language model. And Natalie MacNeil, by the way, has an incredible program called AI Dream Team, where she explains all of this and helps you to build out the key team members in your business with AI, like using AI, so that you can free up way more time, way more energy to be able to put your time and energy only towards the things that are the highest and best use of you, that fully require your humanity. And we need to double down on those things for sure. So you can head over to katenorthrup.com/dream team, and you can find out about Natalie's program. So that being said, when you have a large language model, you're pulling from like the collective consciousness everywhere. And quite frankly, I don't really want to just generally ask the collective consciousness what it thinks I should do at any given moment, which is just asking ChatGPT a question without what Natalie calls the 3 C's prompt framework. You have to be really particular about how you're asking so that you'll get a better answer. However, ours, Abby AI, is a small language model. It's an SLM, which means it's only trained in the Kate Northrup money methodology. So that's the only thing it's pulling from. And she trained it. The reason it gave an answer that I think was beyond what I personally would have said, like it keyed into a pattern and a nuance that I may not have seen or said in that way, is because she trained it for synthesis. She trained it because she has experience. She's been studying and working with AI since 2019, like talk about an early adopter. So she has an instruction set that she was able to give it to be able to not only just regurgitate what I would say based on transcripts of our coaching calls and all that stuff, but to actually synthesize the information and go beyond, like take patterns and go beyond. And I just think that is mind-blowing and so profound. And I can see the ways in which using AI in this way is going to accelerate our human evolution and free us up to think even bigger and free us up to focus more on being human beings as opposed to human doings. And I, quite frankly, am very excited for that. And then the final use case that I've been using is I just recently had my friend Leanne Lopez-Mosley on the podcast, and Leanne is a messaging queen. She's the founder of Rich Queen. She took her business from 2 to 10 million in 1 year. She regularly has $1 million months, and she is like a living, breathing British messaging queen Barbie. She is so great. She's so smart. And she created a tool called She Makes Bank AI. And she gave me access to it just as a friend in its beta form. And honestly, I use it all the time to support me in tightening up my copy. So I don't have it write my copy from scratch, but I work with it as a messaging tool to be able to write. So like I'll write something or I'll take an email sequence that I wrote before for a previous launch, and I'll have it help me tighten it up in terms of the rhythm, tighten it up in terms of the emotional resonance, and tighten it up in terms of conversion optimization. Because I can really have a tendency as a writer to say more. And when it comes to copywriting, saying more usually isn't the move. We need to say the right things. So one of the things that Leanne says about the nickname is it's called Leanne AI. She says that ChatGPT gives you words and Leanne AI gives you money because effective messaging and effective copywriting makes you money. And I can tell you, I use Leanne AI for some of the copy in our recent Relax Money launch. And it was night and day difference in terms of us being able to attract our high-level premium ideal clients in a way we never have before. And I think it is partially because of using these tools. So if you're interested in checking out Leanne AI, you can go to katenorthrup.com/Leanne. So that's what I've got for you today. We have use cases for the Easter Bunny. We have use cases for your hair health, for your HRV, for your protein intake, for your copywriting, and for your relationship with money. If you want access to Abby AI, the only way to get it currently is within Relaxed Money. And what we'll do is you can just go over to relaxedmoney.com. Doors are currently not open, but you can get on the wait list there for the next time that we open enrollment, or you can just DM me the word relaxed. Thank you so much for listening to your to this wacky and eclectic version of the way Kate Northrup is using AI. I hope it was fun and helpful for you. If you have an amazing use case for AI in your life, send me a DM. I'm really nerding out on these things these days. Have a great day. What if you could, within moments, write words that easily convert traffic to email subscribers and that turn leads into customers, like within moments? So my friend Leanne Lopez-Mosley created a tool called Leanne AI, and I have been using it in some of my copywriting, and I love it, and it has saved me hundreds of hours. So the way Leanne describes it for people who are like, well, what's the difference between using this tool that you've created and, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever? And the way she describes it is that ChatGPT gives you words and Leanne AI, or She Makes Bank AI, gives you money. And I have to tell you, the conversion rate for the social captions, the landing pages, the sales pages, the emails that I've used this tool to help me with has blown my mind. It saves me so much time. So if you've been looking for an incredibly well-trained AI messaging tool, look no further. Head over to katenorthrup.com/Leanne, which is Leanne, katenorthrup.com/Leanne, and check out She Makes Bank AI.